Okay, this is Orlando Wilson. What I want to talk about in this video is travel warnings. And I've had this conversation with multiple people, about the relevance of travel warnings, etc., put out by US State Department, put out by the British Foreign Office, etc. You know what, there's some good information you can get from travel warnings, but from what I've seen, especially recently, I think a lot of those travel warnings are more politically based than factually based. In some of the countries, one of my clients in particular is looking to do business in a certain location, and what we read, what we've seen on the government travel warning sites was completely opposite to the environment in the country where he's working. If you listen to the travel warnings, it's a no-go area, it's this, it's that, etc., where the fact is the country is very, very peaceable, and the fact we went and got the real situation for him means he's now developing business and making money instead of being scared away from the country. So this is where, whenever you're listening to, and I've got other videos up about this, especially about threat assessments, and a lot of the analysts out there these days who are more, how can I put it, their opinions and their assessments are more based on the current political agenda of the countries they're in, rather than the real situations. And I've said this in other videos, a lot of the people that's writing up the assessments, the political assessments, the threat assessments, the risk assessments, especially the country profiles, have never ever been to those countries. They're sat in an office somewhere just getting their information from open source intelligence or what they see online or from somebody else in that country, and generally the people they're talking to in those countries they're not talking to all sides, they're talking to people that's more in line with their countries or their company's political agendas. So this is where, with the travel warnings, and again, a lot of the assessments that's been put out these days by a lot of the risk management companies, I'd be very wary. Because for a lot of people these days, impartiality has disappeared. And especially when you're talking about hotspots like Israel, Ukraine, and everything else, I think from both sides, it's very difficult to get impartial advice, impartial information, because, how can I put it, there's that much extreme fever on all sides. Nobody's willing to admit the real situation of who's winning, who's losing, etc., especially who's losing these days. So just my thoughts. If you're dealing with, we put out threat assessments, travel advisories, etc., but again, it's our stuff we ensure is impartial. But most of our clients are these days business related, business orientated, and they need impartial information rather than NGOs, etc. They're being funded by governments, so they need to follow the current agendas of the governments that's funding them. So just a little bit of my opinion on travel warnings and risk assessments these days, international risk assessments. Anyway, follow me along on social media. I've got a book up that specifically deals with threat assessments on Amazon. And again, if you check out our blog, there's more information on there that talk about threat assessments, risk assessments, etc. Follow me along on social media. I prefer X these days, but we're also up on the main platforms. And if you've got any questions, feel free to reach out to me. I will get back to you. It might take me a few days, it might take me a week or so, but I will get back to you in time as long as your questions are relevant. And again, if you need any impartial threat assessments, travel advisories, etc., then reach out to us. We're happy to compile them for you, of course, for a fee. In the meantime, as always, be good, stay safe, stay out of trouble. And when you're receiving any type of information from somebody, always ensure it's impartial. How do you ensure that? Always speak to the people you're dealing with, and if you get any feeling that they're a little bit too radicalized in certain directions, which is very common these days, I would say they're not going to be giving you information that's worthwhile. They'll just be giving you propaganda.